now, obviously, a place you probably wouldn't want to live. Where I used to live, actually, I used to have a beautiful home in Hollywood Hills, but this is what's going on in LA right now.
Did you run into traffic? Is the rest of your community responding?
Yeah, so we're all on a good community WhatsApp up here in Crescent Canyon, and everybody, it was just basically blowing up and telling everybody to get out.
It's crazy what's going on. Let's look at some more footage. This is the devastation of, obviously, LA suffers bushfires annually. Of course, all the globalists, all the woke nutters will come out. That's climate change. I doubt that. We have summers and winters every year, but the devastation this year is huge. So let's investigate this further. Independent media certainly will. Mainstream media will tell you lies, but look at this devastation. As you can see there, that we're talking thousands of homes completely wiped out. It's still going on in LA right now. So, sad to see, but we'll learn more about what's really behind this. Andrew Tate announced in recent days he's going to run for the prime ministership of Britain. What sort of, the world is changing. A lot of Andrew Tate supporters out there, and will he actually? He's Googled this. This was like 3 days ago. The most Googled man in the world who is British becoming the PM. At the time of Great Awakening and distrust in political life, stranger things have happened. I am 100% serious. I am in the next election. Wow. So Andrew Tate stepping up, seeing the great vacuum of political leadership in Britain. Could he possibly be elected? Well, he has a large following, whether people like Andrew Tate or not. The globalists will tell you to hate him. But he's quite a good speaker. He speaks very well. He's very controversial, obviously, clearly, but I think that's part of his brand, to be controversial. And he's built a following by encouraging young men to be strong, to step up, be leaders, to work out, not to be lazy, have work ethic, and don't expect things to be easy in life, and to be a stronger man. I think that's good for society, because the globalist elite nutters have wanted men to be demasculated and to be weak and weaklings. You look at most of the leaders in the West, puppets. Look at Anthony Albanese. Is he a strong masculine male that could protect you? No, he's a weakling. You look at Macron in France, a weakling. You look at Starmer in Britain, a weakling. Find me a strong man. The only strong man you can think of in leadership is not in the West, other than Trump's coming in, is clearly a strong man. Putin's a strong man. And you want strong men and powerful feminine women. You don't want Hillary Clintons of the world. There's not a feminine bone left in her body. Feminine, strong women like a Candace Owens as a political leader, or strong men. That's what you want. And will Britain get it? Well, it's certainly going to be interesting. How has the world changed? But Andrew Tate, love him or hate him, he'll probably stir up politics enough in Britain to create change, whether he's elected or not. What else is happening? The LA fire, interesting part on that is that the funding for the fire department was cut massively just before that. Of course, policies, the globalist left policies, would have nothing to do with increasing the devastation. Let's look at now, interesting, debt jubilee. I talked about this in one of my articles, that as nations like the US is basically bankrupt, as I said earlier in the episodes, talking with Lily Gaddis, the commentator from America, is that we, even though Elon Musk and V.K. Ramaswamy have probably the best intentions of slashing and making America more efficient, the government, and I agree with that, those policies, those fiscal policies. You see what Milei has done in Argentina, rapid turnaround. And however, Unfortunately, I don't think America is going to allow that to happen. I mean, the deep state, the military industrial complex, etc., they're just not allowed the money to be cut. So if they can't cut and get America shrunk into a budget efficient size to be sustainable, America's going to get broke. And I said there's a 51% chance, I believe, in 2025 of an economic crash happening in America. And will this be controlled demolition, financial demolition by the cabal to try and do it on Trump's watch, so Trump gets the blame for it? But it's heading that way anyhow. So if they can't get their spending under control, which best intentions they still won't, they can kick the can down the road, maybe another year or two, but 80% chance, I think, within 3 years that economic crash will hit. So we should prepare for that. What can be done about that? What they will start doing is debt jubilees. They'll start writing off debt. That's what nations do just before they collapse, because they have to, started doing with the student debt in America. But if people can't afford it, they'll start doing car debt. It's to stop the economy collapsing. That's the last bit, writing off the debt. You think that's great, they're going to write off the debt, but it's just the last stand before economic collapse. Let's hear what Greg Reese had to say.
Never sell your Bitcoin, right?
The Trumps have been very bullish on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency.
Again, it's coming. Everybody knows it's coming, and the people who don't embrace it early are going to ultimately lose.
Eric Trump recently met with Michael Saylor at Mar-a-Lago, who has been proposing a plan to preserve U.S. dollar dominance by utilizing Bitcoin as a reserve.
Here's the strategy. You dump gold, demonetize the entire gold network. You buy Bitcoin, you buy 5 million or 6 million Bitcoin, you monetize the Bitcoin network, and you just define digital currency as the US dollar backed by US dollar equivalents and a regulated US custodian. Replaces every currency in the world with the dollar, which the US controls, and it siphons off hundreds of trillions of dollars of 20th century capital assets and half of the capital in the rest of the world. And 75% of the capital of our enemies gets siphoned into Bitcoin. And the big beneficiary is the US government. And after that, every US company, because we're the ones that own and run it.
Trump has been rebranding the North American Union as Canada being the 51st state of the United States. And Justin Trudeau has now resigned, leaving a clear path for Pierre Poilievre to make significant changes.
We haven't really seen a lot of concrete proposals from Mr. Poilievre. I mean, he did make one. That's not fair. You're right. He had one great opportunity for people to opt out of inflation. He recommended this last spring. You can opt out of inflation if you invest your money in Bitcoin. Yeah. No. He stayed up late, watched all sorts of YouTube videos, and came to that conclusion. He said that himself.
We're going to buy this shawarma with this Bitcoin. Send.
Done. Yep, I got it.
You got it.
Guys, we did it. We bought the shawarma with Bitcoin.
So that is my plan, to enable Canada to become the blockchain and crypto capital of the world.
Debt slavery has existed on Earth for thousands of years, which is why a cashless society has been of great concern to freedom-loving souls. In the earliest days of civilization, farmers would borrow against their harvest, and if the harvest failed, the farmer would lose everything and become a slave until the debt was repaid. Eventually, the amount of slaves with nothing to lose becomes a threat to those in power, and so debt jubilees were issued at regular intervals as a matter of public stability. The Bible describes a debt jubilee that would happen every 50 years as an economic reset, a year of liberation and restoration where debts are forgiven, land is returned, and slaves are set free. The ancient Greeks had debt jubilees to avoid violent revolutions and uprisings. As economist Lynn Alden wrote, it wasn't out of kindness that rulers did this. It was a solution to a societal math problem. If you run a computer long enough, eventually it starts to work less efficiently. Refreshing the power and rebooting the system gets the computer running smoothly again. A Jubilee year has been celebrated every 25 years by the Catholic Church since 1300. But the need for debt forgiveness has been avoided by the current debt-based fiat system and the Uniform Commercial Code, which has been running for nearly a century, and it is at its end. 2025 is a Jubilee year, and Pope Francis has called on affluent countries to forgive debts and to address ecological debt, which sounds like a carbon tax. The emerging system is much more than just money. It is a cataloging system where every person and every piece of property can be connected via a digital identity. This is called tokenization and is set to replace the birth certificate and every other document of title in the real world. Biblical prophecy Christians are saying that this is the mark of the beast, but there is no need for a mark when facial recognition will do the job. And if it comes with debt forgiveness and universal basic income, then those who fight against the system will be seen as terrorists by the public.
What's going to happen is the U.S. dollar is going to be the world reserve currency, and it's going to run on billions and billions of mobile devices. And the digital asset that underlies that currency is going to be Bitcoin.
Well, there you have it. Greg Reese reporting. We thank him for that report. So there you have it. Their plan for Bitcoin to become perhaps the U.S. reserve currency. All things are behind the scenes. Trump has come out very aggressive against the BRIC nations wanting to create, an alternative currency. But I think the world needs an alternative reserve currency to reduce America's power for funding wars since World War II or Israel wars and trying to reshape the Greater Israel project and shape the world like that. I mean, we don't need the cabal continuing to do this. The leadership of Putin, is a very good leadership. He's ultimately probably the most effective leader on the planet. Whether we are taught to hate and demonize Russia or Putin, let's look at the reality, the facts. If there was a vote right now on the planet for a world leader, Putin would win hands down. And I think Putin's leadership is a Christian nation, Orthodox Christian, traditional values, a very strong nation that's low debt, that is isolated because the sanctions against them force their isolation, but out of that, they still become stronger. America can only dream of having the financial, fiscal abilities and the strength of Russia. America might be bigger in GDP, but what's America export? America exports fake money. Rothschilds, what they create, they print fake money, the Federal Reserve, fake money. That's pretty much what they export, other than weapons and terror, and stealing resources. America's got to get back to actually producing stuff and shrinking down and living within their means and stop stealing resources to fund their lifestyle they can't afford. That's the hard truth. And the BRICS wants a multipolar world, wants strong national governments that respect each other and wants trade, not war, wants peace, doesn't want to impose their values on everyone else. This is the way that we must live. Wants to stand up against Islamic terrorism, not fund it like Israel and America is funding. So I'm suggesting that the best bet for the world is the BRICS. We've got three choices. I see it. The globalist cabal, the woke left-wing nutters and Soros and Gates and co, which is collapsing as we see, and we're very excited about that. But we don't want the Zionist cabal which are making their ground right now to rapidly grab that vacuum space of power that's left and get control of the Trump administration, which is elected not for that reason. What's the center? The center is center left, center right, reasonable people that don't support the slaughter of innocent civilians in Gaza, but doesn't mean that they're left. They can be left and right, and do support just decent values, whether they're Christian values or traditional values, respect of other religions, and enable people to go about living the life that they want without these psychopaths that believe in overpopulation and believe in wars and stealing and rape and inciting civil disorder and civil tension by mass West immigration into the West, which is a globalist strategy, a Zionist strategy as well. So that's, at least we have that choice. So I think nations supporting the BRICS, an alternative reserve currency by the BRICS to reduce the power of America, to boss the world, which is really Israel bossing the world via America, is a much better place. But that's all we have for this episode, folks. We'll be back with some more.